Hello, it's Lynn Watts here with Wyatt the Wonder Dog Books and More. And today I'm going to talk about goal setting with young students, but I'm going to talk about it in probably a little different aspect than maybe you normally think about. So, we all know, of course, that it's important to learn to set goals, and certainly early part of the year is often when we focus on that with students or early in the school year. So, two kind of beginning situations where you might talk about goal setting. Um, One thing that we often don't talk about is how does a student's temperament impact goal setting? How does their temperament influence how they're going to respond to goal setting, what kind of goals they ought to set, and how they're going to be motivated with those goals? So let's talk first about the four different temperaments that we experience. And of course, everybody is sort of a combination of all four of these, but there are basically four, and you can remember them through with the letters DISC, DISC. So the D stands for dominance, and dominance tends, without going into just a lot of detail about it, it's typically somebody who is very goal oriented and is a student that's pretty easy to set goals with. They tend to be somewhat competitive, they like being in charge. And so they prefer kind of ambitious, challenging goals, and they thrive really on achieving those goals and kind of pushing forward with them. So they're in many ways sort of the easiest person to set goals with. The second personality or temperament style is I, which stands for influence. And this is typically somebody who is very social, very enthusiastic. They're creative. They really enjoy being around other people. They're kind of a cheerleader type, like to get involved in that way. And so, what kind of goals are going to motivate them? They're going to be motivated by goals that have group involvement. And that just makes a lot of sense. So, they enjoy things that are collaborative, they really seek out fun, things that they enjoy and that other people are going to enjoy. And so, that's the kind of goal, or at least you want to take, if you have a goal that doesn't really have all those characteristics, you want to figure out how you can incorporate some of those characteristics into the goal so that a student who has predominantly what we call an I temperament is going to be motivated to achieve those goals. The next temperament, the third temperament, is the S, or we might call it steady temperament. And this is somebody who tends to be more introverted. The other two temperaments are more extroverted. This is someone who's more introverted, is very patient, dependable, loyal. Again, appreciates interaction and socialization, being involved with other people. But they really appreciate things like consistency, sometimes doing things the most practical, easiest way to do them. And they are someone who's going to respond best if you set up goals with them that are involve small, manageable steps. All right. So this is somebody who might feel like what's the point if the goal is too big, too involved. But if you can set up a goal that has clear, manageable steps that are small, that make sense, that are sensible, then this is someone that will be motivated by that type of goal. And then the fourth and final temperament we call conscientious. And that one is somebody who is very detail oriented. Again, more of an introvert than an extrovert, but they really are kind of analytical, very structured. They like to follow the rules. They like to know what the rules are. And so they prefer goals that are very precise, that are well thought out, and that they clearly understand the process. So the process is going to be important to them as well, but they like the small details. And they like knowing that ahead of time. They like to make sure they're doing things the right way. Rules are very important to them. And so that's the final in the C temperament. So if you understand temperament as you're working with students on goal setting in particular, you can boost their engagement. You can encourage motivation. You can minimize frustration that they're going to have with challenging goals. And it's going to help them be aware not only of the goal, but what kind of environment and what kind of situation or structure they need in order to be successful. So I hope that is helpful as you're working with students in goal setting, a very important skill that we need to teach young students. As always, thanks so much for listening.